Hi everyone. I hope you guys are excited as much as I am. Let me add my friend Leila. Okay, Leila is here, so I'll just add her. A lot of lovely people. Hi Leila.
Hi, Kevin.
You made it safe.
How are you? Yes, I made it on time.
شخبارك?
Alhamdulillah, شخبارك?
Good, good. Leila, I'm so excited that we are finally having this conversation.
Same here. Thank you so much.
And first of all, I want to say congrats on Kado. Amazing work. And I know that it hasn't been an easy journey, but today we want to talk about all these interesting things. And I want to start by, asking you to tell people who is Leila.
Thank you so much. I want to start off first by giving my condolences to Kuwait for the passing of their leader as well. عظم الله أجركم. I just found out the news now officially, so I just thought it would be sensitive to mention that.
Yes.
So my name is Leila Al-Marashi, and I decided to launch Kado when I came up with the idea back in 2018. And I'll tell you exactly why the idea popped into my head, and I remember the day very clear. So it was the 8th of February 2018, and 19 birthdays had passed by me in 1 month of friends and family. And at the time, I was like you, very busy in Abu Dhabi, corporate job. I had no time to buy gifts. I didn't know what to buy. So I thought to myself, imagine if we had a concept or an app similar to the way Uber Eats or Talabat works, where we could have affordable luxury gifts packaged, delivered same day. And I remember my family at the time were like, actually, that's a really good idea. And I forgot about it. And then a few months down the line, by May 2018, I had already uh, left my corporate job and decided to pursue this full time. So I started speaking to app developers, putting together the plan. I don't come from a tech background. So my background has always been business development. I had my own fashion startup in 2007. I was in oil and gas corporate communication. So I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So it took me longer, I think. Had I been a tech background, I would have been able to implement it quicker. From 2018 up till November 2019, it took me around 18 months to secure funding, share my vision with friends, families, angel investors, and trademark the name in the UAE. I also set up my company in Delaware. And a lot of people ask me, why did you set it up in that format? And the reason was I was thinking of following the footsteps of certain startups that had really exited at a very attractive valuation of what today we would call a unicorn startup. So that's my dream. My dream is hopefully in the next 10 to 15 years, reach a valuation of $1 billion and be able to exit Kado at that rate. So what I did is I chose Delaware as per my lawyer's advice, and the advice was to have it as a headquarter company, offshore international license that would own the intellectual property and the database. So any investor today I invite to be part of Kado's vision would own equity in the Delaware license. And then in the UAE is the LLC, which is the OPCO. So HEDCO, OPCO. So I put together a team. I found the app developers, the concept of what Kado today is offering. Kado is a white glove concierge service that offers carefully curated, affordable luxury products delivered same day. Very simple concept. Anything that is related to a celebratory experience, whether that is flower, chocolate cakes, balloons, jewelry, accessories, leather goods, tech and gadget, children items, experiences, hopefully very soon, is all available on a platform known as Cadeau. And the name comes from the word gift in French, and we spelt it as CADO because we wanted to offer an easy downloadable sort of category. And inshallah by Christmas we'll have our website ready and our blog, and then I'm looking at integrating all the tech aspects to be able to be 3 steps away from sending your perfect gift to your loved ones, whether that's on WhatsApp, FB, Instagram. So that's the business model.
I think, Leila, you put it really nicely and like in a summary, but people don't understand the time and effort you actually took to learn about the sector, because the tech industry is not an easy industry. And to see a female taking a leadership role by starting a new business within the sector, it's by itself very challenging. So tell us a little bit about the experience itself. No, I know you're not coming out of a tech background. I know a lot of people who work in companies of likes of Facebook, Google, and so on, but they're not tech people. So how did you do it?
It's a really good question. So I was very lucky that I had access to a lot of people. I spoke to other tech startups like myself. I was able to speak to, people who really believed in the concept. And I feel very blessed about that. Yani my first supporters were Emirati female with normal day jobs, and they saw the vision in that. Then I was, one door would open the other. And I want to encourage anybody today with a good idea. For me, what's a good idea? A good idea is something that addresses a gap in the market and the need. And that's how Cadeau was created, because there was this gap in the gifting world. We're talking about an $8 billion industry that nobody has automated. So what I wanted to do is identify that gap and see how I can bring players together to help me with that. So I would really encourage people to look at loose advisories or advisors that can help you, through that stepping stone. And I won't say it's easy. There were opportunities I could have fallen into, big traps that you just follow your gut instinct and you say, okay, no, let me wait for the next opportunity. And I feel when you follow your passion and your heart, I don't want to sound cheesy, but the universe has your back. As hard as it is, a life of an entrepreneur is very sort of like up, down, but reach out to people, talk about it. You want them to sign an NDA, they will gladly sign an NDA, but share your idea and believe that it will be reciprocated to support you. If you have questions on specific challenges, maybe they're not coming to mind now, I'd gladly answer them as well.
Was the appetite positive, not just from an investment perspective, but in terms of this concept itself? Like, I know you have the advisory groups and you have people around you that you were fortunate to seek advice and engage in the conversation. But in terms of the actual market, the appetite, was the appetite there?
It was there. It was there. And I needed time to structure my thoughts to be able to present it in a way that helped people understand the opportunity. People had concerns, especially the fact that we didn't yet test it. And usually you cannot convince people that you have the answer to their problems. You have to create a prototype, or what you call a minimum viable product, and see how the community responds to that. So when I started, I was very excited and I wanted to launch a perfect product. And the best advice I got at the time was, if you don't have a product you are ashamed of, then you're doing something wrong. And what that means is, just launch something simple, see the way the external environment reacts to that, and then upgrade based on the feedback you get. And then that's where you can be successful. It's what you call a product market fit. When you have a product that fits the market and you have data to go back to your investors and say, for example, I had budgeted that I needed let's say 3 million dirhams, but everybody said, look, we do believe in you, but we want to see how you'll bootstrap with half that amount. So you have to also prove to people that you are up to the responsibility. And I was, because I felt, they believe in me. I was able to raise funding before the idea was even ready. And I'm very blessed and lucky that was possible, but it wasn't just luck. It was also because there was a vision. I had freed up my time from my corporate career to be able to do this full time. And at the same time, it was about demonstrating that, you know, let's try, let's launch it for 3 months to a year and see how people
Yeah.
reciprocate to this. Where are the
Yeah.
pain points? What's the audit later? In tech startups, my biggest advice is when you're fundraising and you're looking at VCs, is to be very metric focused. Always back up every decision you take with data.
Yeah, of course, especially when you're raising money, because investors wants to know details. They like the concept is one thing, but they want to know as well, how sustainable is this business concept. So if I ask you, Leila, like, what's the biggest challenge you've faced so far, either running Kado or even just establishing it? What would it be?
I think the biggest challenge is to raise funds, which takes longer than you expect. It can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months, and being able to run your business at the same time. So
Yeah.
juggling these two is not easy because both requires a lot of time, and every investor wants to see different information. Some of them want to see your tech roadmap, some want to know what's your marketing plan, some want to know how you're going to scale the business in new countries. So preparing for fundraising is a challenge, in addition to managing and growing your business. Being able to juggle the two is consuming. And of course, you drop a lifestyle that you're used to, which I like to
Yeah.
call the golden handcuffs of the corporate world. I had to give that up and start thinking about salaries, start thinking about
Yeah.
how to help this survive, especially during COVID, for example. Was a
Yeah.
big learning. Even tech startups, unless you're Amazon or Noon or I don't know, like Net-a-Porter, small tech startups did struggle. For example, operations, and not just operations, you're looking at marketing and advertising. You're also
Yeah.
looking at logistically, you were very
Resources.
confined and restrained. Yani, even our drivers or logistic companies couldn't operate between certain hours. People were used to getting the goods on time because we promised same day. So
But how
those
did you
were our
manage?
challenges.
How did you manage during COVID? Like when the pandemic hit, it was something unexpected. Obviously, no one knew what's happening. No one knew how long this is gonna stay. What was your reaction as a female tech entrepreneur? What steps did you take to kind of manage the situation?
Honestly, it was a lot of crisis management, and coming from a comms background, I found that being transparent and continuous dialogue with your partners, suppliers, and investors was very important. You
Yeah.
just had to face the facts that this is the market and this is what we're able to do and this is what we're not. We had the opportunity to shut down our operations, but then we said, why not offer customers things they need, not only things they want? So we
Yeah.
started, talking to different vendors like even Carrefour, Virgin, and trying to see, how we can support the community. We did a CSR project where we gave 50 care packets to Emirati families stuck in hotels, being
That's
quarantined.
amazing.
When they came back, yeah, I felt it was important not to be so sales driven and also to have sort of a conscious on what was appropriate.
Leila, can I say something? I always say this too. Like, I realized during this pandemic, a lot of people were, especially SMEs, the SME sector really has responded positively to the pandemic when it comes to supporting communities and community of all backgrounds. And what I liked is that I saw friends who own restaurants giving, meals for free and distributing meals for people who lost jobs. You did something amazing for people who were stuck in quarantine and needed self-care packages and all these things. These are important things. And I always tell, the big boys club, look at the market and look at who stands up, who stands with you when there's a crisis. And it's always the SME sector. Yet I feel the SME sector is still looked at as the underdog. Like, they still don't have everything they need, the right infrastructure, the right environment, right support. All these things are challenging, but it shows during a pandemic who works hard and who keeps still to their values. I mean, there are a lot of startups and SMEs who had to shut down, but those who made it and survived yet are also doing things for the community. What do you think like from your perspective as a business owner, how do you feel about this, doing these kind of stuff? Because people think we get funding or investors and we are super rich and loaded and we have money to just spread it. It's not that. We have cost, we have, you know, a payroll and expenses and a lot of things. So I just want to know from your perspective, how did you do it really? Because it's challenging. Financially, it's challenging.
100%. And it was such a learning, actually. It was very humbling. Two lessons that came out of this for all of us, I think, was resilience and adaptation to the current situation. Luckily, I was in tech, but other people who weren't were forced to start the digital path or the automation path as a result. I was very impressed by a lot of female business entrepreneurs that were so supportive, so understanding. And then in addition to that, I think holding on to your cash flow to be able to manage that in an effective way and talk to each supplier or vendor that we will pay, just be a little understanding. In my case, I had already run through my cash burn, so I had to survive on whatever profits we were making and just talk to the team to see how to adapt to that. And it was really interesting because I think SMEs had the flexibility to adapt, whereas bigger corporations that were bigger businesses wanted to just shut down and take the easy route. Not to be critical of that, but just I think being lean has its advantages to maneuver.
I feel like it's really important to highlight that because I really saw that. I saw the community coming together. I always encourage my friends that even during Ramadan, you know, I was sending people Ramadan gifts through SMEs. I did not buy from big corporations because I felt like if there's a time for us to support SMEs, it's now, because we can see the result that and the stuff that we're doing for other communities. And I think this is a beautiful thing to highlight and show. And when we talk about people adapt quickly, it's very important to, I always tell like my ideal entrepreneur is someone who can adapt very fast to changes.
Exactly.
And can accept the fact that this is a bad idea and let it go and move fast and test and, you know, make mistake and learn from it and move. So adaptation is a key element in entrepreneurship. And I always say that entrepreneurship is not an easy thing. It's not for the glamorous people. Like, people say, oh, Kauthar, you know, you hang out, you go networking. This is pre-COVID. I was like, guys, it's a lot of work. This is time I invest in my business. And I think in your case, it's the same thing. Even if you are a digital or a tech business, there's a lot of groundwork that you have to establish.
100%. And, you know, one of the offerings that Kado offers is corporate gifting as well, where we cater to B2B and B2C. The B2B was put on hold due to COVID because there was no more corporates or budgets were being slashed. And I think it's very important also to understand in this world that's slowly changing, will people be spending more or less, or what will the habits? Because it's a very special case and it's impacted the entire world. And I think we're yet to see the effect of that moving forward over the next year or even 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, consumer behavior is everything. And I always say consumers have all the biggest power when it comes to economy. You know, if consumers, there's always people spending money, but how much are they spending? And it's just how you adapt, you know, as a business. So Leila, I know that you have a very interesting concept and you're attracting investors from different levels. Tell us about the investment opportunities in Kado, because this is for me as a female entrepreneur and also involved in tech is very exciting.
Thank you so much. So because we're still a startup and we've only been operational for 10 months, for me, I'm very open to attracting angel investors, you know, people like yourself, like myself, that believe in the vision. They don't mind seeing a return on their investment in 3 to 5 years. You know, Kado is a very big opportunity, and there's lots of not just money to be made, but I also believe in value. And for me, value is in market share, in sharing this vision with people. It makes people much happier. So like I said, if anybody is interested in investing, then they would look at owning equity from the Delaware corporation, which is Kado Incorporation. And they would own a piece of the pie there. And then when hopefully a VC will come into play in Series A, which is after I've reached a certain volume of orders, say per day, VCs will want to join and make us an offer. That's when your valuation gets solidified. So currently, Kado is at around the 11 million dirham valuation, and we're hoping to double that within the next year by meeting targets. So I believe in investing in startups, not just, for example, portfolio. It's your investment portfolio.
Exactly.
And if I can just take a step back, what I've noticed is, especially amongst women, we have a lot of financial illiteracy. And it's not our fault, it's just the way we've been raised and the education we've been exposed to. So we've always sort of been, approached with what you call more softer skills that are more creative, academic, less finance and number driven. And as a result of that, as we grow older, we're not very, money savvy with our savings. So we've always been educated in the concept and, put your money into real estate. And I would encourage, yeah, exactly, real estate or gold. And I would encourage people to take a step back and actually diversify your financial portfolio. And what does that mean? Is that buy different currencies like the dollar or the pound. Look at investing in stock like Tesla, for example. Anyone who invested in Tesla in COVID is very lucky today. And it's only going to go up after that. Look at investing in startups. Look at investing in different pockets of your revenue stream, so that when you are of a certain age where it's retirement, you're not just living on a pension that cannot actually sustain your standard of living. And you want to be financially independent. I don't believe in the logic of, my husband or my children are going to take care of me one day. For example, I'm a single woman. I don't want to depend or be a financial burden on anyone. And I don't want to think of inheritance, for example. So I would really encourage,
Go ahead, finish up.
So I'd really encourage Khaliji and Emirati and regional, like Arab women, to educate their know-how on financial literacy. And I'll give you an example. For example, the UAE has been, you could say, a nurture ground for tech startups that I can list that were not just able to benefit from investors here, but also international investors. And they're all expat-led, and they have reached the $500 million to $1 billion valuation at very attractive exits. And I can just list a few at the top of my mind, like The Entertainer, Dubizzle, Mum's World, InstaShop, Property Finder, Kareem. All these startups have been tech startups. So why don't we, as, let's say, Emiratis, learn from these examples? Even Kafu, for example, is an Emirati one. Noon. Why don't we look at how we can all work together to maximize on that? And I just want to add on that, for example, because I'm interviewing tech CTOs and it's just blowing my mind. And one take home was, today, you have to raise your children to be prepared for jobs that don't even exist today. Can you imagine, like, understanding the importance of sending them to coding camps, getting them to understand the digital world and how much revenue can come in for that in the future is huge. You're looking at certain individuals creating coding schools in places like the Zatari camp for refugees in Jordan and Syria that can change their future forever. And they tell you,
even gaming sector, it's a big sector, but we are not investing enough in actually creating new generation that can actually take over the sector in the future or contribute massively to it. We still honestly
100%.
are behind when it comes to investing in talents and making sure that they are ready for the future.
100%.
Even as parents,
please.
Even as parents, Leila, even as parents and as community members, we, excuse my language for using this, but sometimes we are so cheap sending a kid for 1,000 dirham in a summer camp to learn coding. But we're not cheap to buy an iPhone for 3,000 or 4,000 dirham. And I think it's very important, like people need, this is even parents' investment in their kids in order for them to be financially independent and contribute positively into economies.
100%. And it's about understanding, right? It's about, teach a man how to fish instead of giving him a fish. And for me, I think the importance going forward is again, data. Like, if you look at how much money and you can save and even make out of optimizing and automating and making people's life easier and easier moving forward, there's no holding back. I'm very optimistic that the younger generation is going to become very intelligent when it comes to AI. And there's a lot of change in the universe you're seeing as we move forward. And there's no reason, if you've watched, for example, The Social Dilemma, it's just completely, blew me away. I'm speechless after watching that. But if you see how, if you can comprehend that there's 22 engineers in Silicon Valley controlling the whole world with
Yeah.
platforms of social media like Instagram and Snapchat, etc., Facebook, and the type of data they can access from you, from your geolocator, from your phone, from your, accessing Wi-Fi, is mind-boggling. The type of information they have today can create a robotic version of a Kauthar. It makes you think and opens up your eyes to sky's the limit. It doesn't just have to be them. We can also jump on that
Yeah.
wagon and benefit from that.
Yeah. So Leila, I feel like, mashallah, beside the fact that you've done a lot of self-learning, this is something that I always tell people, like if you are an entrepreneur and you think you can learn and invest in your own knowledge, you can do business. Like you have to learn, like we had to do, I'm pretty sure, like you and I have done jobs or tasks or things that people don't expect us to do. So I want to know, like, if you had the power or if you had the resources to change something in order to create more females in the tech sector, especially here in the UAE or in the Gulf, what will it be? Because I feel like people have to really experience it in order to be able to give that advice.
For me, I feel that we have a lot of industries we've ignored because we don't have enough knowledge about that. For example, I feel, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I feel as a community, we usually tend to have a herd mentality where we follow the herd. And for me, that means, people go into specialty coffee. We went in the past 5 years from having 20 specialty cafes in the UAE. Now we have 250. Hair salons, I don't know, cake stores, abaya businesses. It's not wrong in any way, but it's saturated. Why don't we focus our business on complementing these businesses with a service? For example, payment gateways. I had a big problem finding the right payment gateway when I started, and today I use Tap from Kuwait because of their terms. And we need to, yeah, for sure. So there's tons of gaps I've realized exist. The lots of services that I can recommend people can gain from, and we can all join forces together so that we save each other on costs. We don't have enough app developers in this part of the world. We don't have enough web designers. We don't have enough UI UX. There's a lot. I don't even know where to start, and I'm happy to I'm happy to list vacancies or spaces where I feel people today need to focus on. For example, graphic designers can make a lot of money if they know how to, and they know which services to cater to.
And I think, you mentioned a lot of interesting facts, and a lot of people because they don't put effort in learning about these things, they're missing out with opportunities. With every challenge or challenges, there are plenty of opportunities. And I feel like we as a society, as entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs or emerging entrepreneurs, we should really look into these opportunities. We shouldn't have gap. We are a competitive market, and we need to be as competitive as our friends and neighbors and everyone, and we have to push for these opportunities to be utilized, and people have to take them. And I feel like people like you are making that change, and I'm happy to see more females coming now into the tech sector. I had a couple of followers saying that I am also in the tech sector, so hi to everyone in the tech sector. And I think we should push that message. I also think that we need to start women in tech is not an issue in the UAE. It's a global issue. We have a lack of female leadership in the tech sector. We've seen the past couple of years, women taking on roles like in Facebook and other entities. But how do you think, especially with gender equality in the UAE is really progressive in this, and we are pushing so much, and the leadership are supporting women across all sectors, and with the latest announcement of women having equal pay in the private sector, do you think this will open up the opportunity for more females to go into the tech sector specifically and have more female leaders in the tech, especially here in the UAE?
Look, for me, I believe entrepreneurship is a personality. You either are into taking risks or you're not, and I completely respect if you're not, because I understand people have responsibilities But they also need to realize that at some point, you get very comfortable and numb by having a corporate job. And
Yeah.
the risk of that is that you're never going to venture out. You're always going to have your golden handcuffs, as I mentioned. But if people are open, there is a lot of opportunity and courses and situations where they can expose themselves to these opportunities. For example, let's look at fintech. Fintech is financial technology that will very soon, in 3 years maybe, replace the banking system. Banks
Yeah.
today are at risk of becoming the next Kodak. And what
The
that
banks
means
will be
is,
upset with you, Leila, but that's
it's
the
true.
truth.
It's
Yeah,
true.
that's the
So,
truth.
so they will become very digitized. You're talking about digital banks that will solve all the issues we face today. You're going to, I mean, Apple is going to really, or already announced their credit card. And the
Yeah.
benefits in that is amazing.
Yeah.
Nobody can steal your chip. You know exactly where your money is going. Today, when you pay for a payment with your credit card, you don't even know which vendor it is. It's like the name
Yeah.
doesn't match the vendor. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Yeah.
charges going, you don't know where they go. So I really think it's not only fintech, it's also automating and making your life easier to become an aggregator like Amazon. I mean, if
Yeah.
we look at Jeff Bezos, he was for 15 years wasn't making money. Maybe, he even told his friends and family, probably all the money you're going to invest is going to go to waste. And to have that kind of perseverance and vision is something not everyone has the appetite for. But I think if you feel today, anybody listening in on this call feels that they have an idea that's a game changer or that can address a gap in the market, whether women or men, I don't like to differentiate because I still feel in tech we are all behind, not just women or men. Then I
Yeah.
say go for it and do your research. There's so many books on this, so much opportunity, so many people to talk to. Talk to me, talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we should be doing more of these sessions at some point. Maybe when COVID is all over, we consider doing a workshop, and getting
100%.
share these experiences because it's really important as we progress, as a sector. Leila, anything you would like to add before we end? Anything from your
100%.
perspective?
I'd just
It
like to
is.
thank you for this amazing opportunity. I hope we can save this conversation. And if people are
We will.
interested in knowing more about Kado, they can follow it on @cadogifting on Instagram. And we also have the app they can download. And I just want to thank you for your time. And it's good to see you, Kauthar.
I know, right? Since the
Yes,
beginning
it's
of
been
this
too
year,
long.
trying. But to be honest, guys, really check out Kado Gifting on Instagram. Get in touch with Leila. Good resource, good people. There are opportunities to be a consumer, and there's an opportunity to be a partner. So these are a great opportunity. We should be supporting local entrepreneurs. And yeah, Leila, thank you so much for making the time. And I'm sure this won't be the last time you
Thank
appear on
you.
the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for dialing in. All the best.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.